IGN has early access to Mario Kart World. And oh my God, they ripped it to shreds. And I know at the same time, people are like, oh, it's IGN, take it with a grain of salt. They'll probably end up giving it a 7 at the end of the day to get attention. And honestly, based off of this preview or whatever, I will fully expect an IGN 7. Like that's going to be like the shot heard around the world when the IGN 7 comes out for Mario Kart World. But when you read through the preview, which we're going to here, it almost feels like the person that's reviewing it wanted to jump to that conclusion immediately. I have not played it, and my knowledge is very limited on the game. So all I can do is try to trust a journalist right now. And my God, that is not a position I would ever want to be in. Is that sense of wonder you often feel when discovering something off the beaten track in video games just doesn't seem to exist in Mario Kart World. It's largely empty, lacks atmosphere, and feels bizarrely devoid of activities to get stuck into. I think they meant to say sucked into, but I guess stuck into. So we head over to this preview. Mario Kart World's open world isn't what you think it is. Don't go in expecting Nintendo's Forza Horizon. I can assure you I was not. it's Mario Kart. Like what the hell? Sounds like this person's expectations were not aligned with what they got at the end of the day with it. It's from Simon Cardy, and to their credit, I am not familiar with this person. I don't know anything they've done before. Let's actually do a quick check on this, I'm sure, very normal, sane person. Oh, yeah, totally. Simon is a senior editor at IGN. He covers broad spectrum of games, IGN UK, Dune, West Side Story. Hey, where's Hypnotic when you need him? And made a fool of himself in front of James Bond. Okay. So Mario Kart World, Nintendo's series tier list. He's reviewing the Last of Us series. Let's go to reviews for... What, does he not review games? Okay, Marvel Rivals, Astrobot. Okay, Balatro. So this guy reviewed some of the big hitters here. Spider-Man 2. Looks like he mostly does TV shows, though. Interesting. Mario Golf Super Rush review. I like big putts, and I cannot lie. That's actually a pretty awesome subheading. I'll give him credit for that. What did he give this game? I just like to get an idea, general sense of a Nintendo Mario game before I go into what he says about the preview. Oof. Oof. That's brutal. I enjoyed Mario Golf Super Rush. Not my favorite Mario Golf game ever, but I'd give it more like a 7.5. A 6? Oof. No, it was better than a 6. It wasn't great, though. I almost feel like anytime there's a game that's not like exceedingly great, obvious 10 out of 10, that's when they try to hit it with a lower number just to be like, look, we're not biased. It's like, well, no, just because it's not a perfect game doesn't mean it's a 6. Good point, Asian Swordmaster. Good point. Asian Swordmaster says, so according to IGN, that game is worse than Concord. Good point. I would rather play 1,000 hours of Mario Kart Rush than an hour of Concord. Hell, 10 minutes of Concord. But anyways, what's he have to say now that we have a little bit of a background on what to expect going into this? It isn't what you think it is. I may have only played 3 hours of it. Imagine jumping on a game and shitting on it so hard after 3 hours. That's supposed to be a massive world game that Nintendo has been bragging about for months now, about, oh, how you're going to be shocked at how much is in this game. This guy played 3 hours, which is, I would argue, is based off of what I've heard, scratching the surface of this game. But I'm already starting to get the feeling that Mario Kart World should really be called Mario Kart Knockout Tour. The new last one standing race mode really is the star of the show, adding yet another layer of tension and mayhem to the already chaotic kart racer. And such a new addition deserves to have its name in the lights. And so I find it curious the decision Nintendo had to settle down on the Switch 2 launch open world as the main draw. I get it on an optics level. A Mario Kart unbound from the confines of predetermined tracks has long been desired by fans. It has? I've never asked for that, but okay. But after getting my hands on its free roam offering recently, it sadly left me feeling underwhelmed. Let me explain why. When thinking of an open world racing game, it's by no means unfair to make comparisons to Forza Horizon. Developer Playground Games has mastered this specific subgenre, even earning itself an IGN Game of the Year award with its most recent effort. Each game in the series features a delicately sculpted open world that packs in challenge, wonder, and most importantly, fun. I'd be lying if I said I found much of any of those qualities in the roughly half an hour I spent speeding around Mario Kart's world's sizable map. It's largely empty, lacks atmosphere, and feels bizarrely devoid of activities to get stuck into. I'm going to assume this guy was not a big fan of Wind Waker. But when I'm reading this, it almost, again, I keep going back to, it sounds like they went in with one expectation, and because it didn't perfectly align with those expectations, it was an opportunity to shit on it. And it's like, well, maybe, but again, all we can do right now, because I don't have the game yet, is hear out what this person is saying. Because for all I know, I'll play the game and I'll be like, damn, remember when I was ragging on that journalist? He was actually spot on. So I want to be fair here and be like, okay, I have not played it or experienced it yet. All we can do is take this guy's word for it. And then if he's wrong, we can definitely laugh at it later. Much of my time in free roam consisted of dashing along expanses of flat grassland, desert, or lightly choppy seas, looking for something to do. There are some challenges to get your teeth stuck into, but I found them largely repetitive and little more than trivial distractions. They mainly consist of P-switch challenges, which, when activated, create short time trials to complete. I found these fun at first, but quickly realized they're mostly rinse and repeat efforts involving collecting a certain amount of coins or whizzing through checkpoints within a time limit. And when these rarely take more than 10 or 15 seconds to finish, they'll soon lose all novelty. It's not a promising sign to walk away from a demo feeling as if you've already exhausted the amount of entertainment you can get from the game's side activities. And while I do hope that a more in-depth scouring of the game world reveals more hidden fun, there's another factor that has me concerned about how it all plays out. Do you get rewarded with a shiny new sticker to place on your chosen cart when completing these P-switch challenges? But this is pretty much as far as unlockables go. It feels weird that progression is still largely locked behind the series' long-term tradition of racing in Grand Prix, as this open world seems like the perfect opportunity to hide new characters and carts in secret corners. You played it for 3 hours. How do you know they're not doing that? Like, to be fair. New outfits can be found by driving through one of Yoshi's many restaurants on the island, but they're just as, if not more accessible in the race scenarios. That sense of wonder you so often feel when discovering something off the beaten track just doesn't seem to exist here. Barn finds, explorable missions. Okay, compares it to Forza more. I don't want to read through this whole thing. Lack of progression, meaningful activities. Okay, same thing. Maybe I'm just a grumpy man disillusioned with the world he lives in now that he's hit his mid 30s. Because despite these grumbles, I do need to remind myself that kids big and small will have a great time roaming around this colorful paradise, zooming around and taking the sights of the sandy beaches and windy city streets. Plus, I'd be lying if the 7-year-old part of my brain didn't activate when I drove into the back of a massive truck, took over its controls Cappy style, and wreaked havoc by plowing into every other vehicle, breaking coin-filled brick every wait into every other vehicle and breakable coin-filled brick in sight. It was a rare moment of wonder and Nintendo creativity that seems worryingly lacking elsewhere. Yet there's a dynamic weather system, day-night cycle, and morphing toe-tapping soundtrack that shifts depending on the biome you're in. But none of these delightful presentations touches truly added to the fun factor. Tribal Chief Gandorf says the open world does look trash. I mean, I haven't seen too much beyond just what Nintendo showed already. I haven't been watching like the tree houses or whatever they showed off with it. But at the same time, I want to reserve judgment anyways for playing through it myself because I've been fooled too many times by other people telling me how I should feel about something and then being like, no. Spooky Cat says JT reading is my ASMR. Inkling says, all I hear is a grown man crying over a video game. Yeah, true. Let's see. There were a lot of comments, though, like a lot of comments. And this is bringing up the point that I was going to touch on here. It's a shame to see and just confirms the worries many had. The game isn't $80 because it's packed with content. It's $80 because they know you'll pay for it. This looks like a solid 7.5 out of 10, which is fine, but the standard has been set higher for premier Nintendo games. I don't expect fine from a Mario Kart or Smash. I expect great. But it's only $50 if you buy the bundle. So problem solved. I do wonder about the pricing structure of this. If the game does not feel like it gives you the value of the $80, then it's going to be facing a lot of backlash. And not even initially. I think this is one of those, everyone's going to buy Mario Kart, and it's going to be $80 for the vast majority of the life cycle because that's what Nintendo does with their games. They might knock it on sale for $70 or even have like a Black Friday sale for $60 on it, maybe. They might do that kind of thing. But this is a very expensive game. And I'm not going to be able to knock the idea of thinking about how much it costs for this game while playing it, especially if it doesn't live up to the amount that you're paying for it. And that's not something I feel like Nintendo's ever had to deal with before in the past because their games have always surpassed expectations financially for it. And it sounds to me like this one is not going to do that. So, I guess we'll have to see. The Switch comes out tomorrow night at midnight. So we'll see. Not every game needs to be open world. I bet this game is still playing in comparison to Clash Team Racing, Diddy Kong Racing when it comes to single player content. I was expecting this getting a 10, but hopefully that's not the case now. But hopefully that's not the case. What the hell? But yeah, I think most people that just want a good Mario Kart game are going to be fine with this. But that doesn't make the $80 price tag acceptable. And I think ultimately that's where the frustration is going to come in. But I'm going to leave that one there because, yeah, there's only so much you can extract out of someone else's 3 hours with the game. Someone who doesn't seem to like Nintendo games already going into it. So Diddy Kong Racing mentioned, getting the respect it deserves. Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing was one of those games that I never loved when I first got it, but because I had limited games on the N64, I played it more than I normally would have, and I eventually started to like it. I was expecting a Mario Kart 64 too, and Diddy Kong Racing was not that at all. It was more like challenges and stuff. It was really fun though after having time with it. I just again, my expectations were not aligned with that game going into it. But Tiny Raven says, never played Mario Kart 8 on Switch 1. Was it worth it? Yeah, I mean, yeah. My second favorite Mario Kart of all time, outside of Mario Kart 64. I'd put 8 Deluxe and then Double Dash. I never liked the Super Nintendo version. I know people swear by that one. That was never my jam. We got Mark Smith for the 2. Says, so Mario Kart World isn't a return to form. I see what you did there. Apocalyptic Gaming for the 5 banger says, bro, if I paid $80 for a game, it better hook on in less than 5 minutes. 3 hours, still not feeling it, I'd be pissed. I think for a Mario Kart game, I think that's a fair reaction. I think there are some games out there, especially like massive MMOs and stuff like that, where it's going to obviously take more than 3 hours. But yeah, it does on a game by game basis. For the most part, I think in the first 3 hours, it better damn well hook you. That's fair. That's fair.